What if I told you that a surprising number of KOF characters have long-lost twins in other media? Well, maybe not actual siblings, but the resemblance in some cases is truly uncanny. It's no secret that many KOF characters were inspired by figures from various forms of media, whether intentionally or by sheer coincidence. While some of these similarities are deliberate homages, others are completely unintentional, yet still shocking to see. With that said, let's dive into the top 10 KOF characters who have uncanny lookalikes. Kicking off this list is Robert Garcia, who was recently featured in a dedicated lore video as one of the most recognizable characters in both the KOF and Art of Fighting series. Robert is known for his refined martial arts skills, charismatic personality, and of course his signature ponytail. But what many might not realize is that his design was heavily inspired by none other than American actor Steven Seagal. From the slicked back hair to the way he carries himself in battle, the resemblance becomes more apparent the more you compare them. While Robert has certainly evolved into his own unique character over the years, it's interesting to see how his origins were influenced by a real-life martial artist and action star. The connection between these two characters is purely visual, but it's hard to ignore. Yori Yagami and Slam Dunk's main protagonist, Sakuragi Hanamichi, couldn't be more different in terms of personality. While Yori is broody and intense, Sakuragi is more of a loud-mouthed goofball. That said, both of them have a tendency to settle things with their fists, so maybe they do share a bit of a resemblance beyond just their looks. The first time I saw Sakuragi, my immediate reaction was, why is Yori playing basketball? The resemblance was striking. The wide red hair, the sharp, intimidating expressions whenever Sakuragi gets serious, it was all too familiar. And funnily enough, Slam Dunk seems to have a whole cast of characters that resemble KOF fighters. Sakuragi even has a rival who looks suspiciously like Yo. His love interest bears a stronger resemblance to Yori, and there's even a fanboy character who is basically Shingo in another universe. Silver, the main antagonist of Buriki 1, is easily one of the most obscure characters in KOF, having only appeared in KOF 11 as one of the many mid-bosses. Despite his limited presence, he has a few defining traits that make him stand out. He's somewhat old, has a darker skin tone, constantly looks angry, and lives for one purpose: to grow stronger and challenge powerful opponents. Does that remind you of anyone? Yep, he's basically KOF's version of Akuma from Street Fighter. The similarities between them are so striking that you could almost mistake them for long-lost siblings. From their relentless warrior mindset to their intimidating presence, Silver and Akuma feel like they were cut from the same cloth. This is a well-known connection, and for good reason. The developers themselves have admitted it. Blue Mary's design was heavily inspired by Android 18 from the Dragon Ball series, and the most obvious giveaway is their hairstyle. They share the same slick blonde bob, and even their facial features are strikingly similar. However, that's where the resemblance pretty much ends. While both are incredibly skilled fighters, their combat styles couldn't be more different. Android 18, being an android, possesses superhuman abilities that put her on a whole other level. Blue Mary, on the other hand, is a highly trained but still very human fighter who relies on skill and technique rather than raw power. That being said, this isn't the only link between KOF and Dragon Ball. You have to admit, the resemblance here is uncanny. Billy Khan and Guilty Gear's Axl Low look so much alike that they could easily be mistaken for twins. Just look at the similarities. They both rock a dominant blue color scheme. They both have blonde hair. They're both skilled weapon users, even if their weapons differ. And to top it all off, they're both from England. The biggest difference between them lies in their personalities. Billy is always on edge, ready to throw down at a moment's notice, while Axl is far more laid back, taking things in stride with a carefree attitude. But despite their contrasting temperaments, their visual similarities are hard to ignore. Here's another Dragon Ball reference, this time with Tang Furu, the legendary martial arts master from Fatal Fury and KOF, who has trained multiple iconic fighters. It's clear that his design was heavily inspired by Master Roshi, the famed mentor of Goku, Krillin, and Yamcha. The visual similarities are impossible to miss. Both are elderly, bald, and sport white beards, all while having small, unassuming builds. But the resemblance goes beyond just looks. In battle, both Tang and Roshi undergo dramatic transformations, temporarily shifting into hulking, muscular forms during certain attacks. This shared trait further cements their connection, making Tang Furu feel like KOF's own take on the legendary Turtle Hermit. I don't think this resemblance was intentional or meant as a direct reference, but you have to admit, it's pretty uncanny. Adelheid Bernstein shares a surprising number of visual similarities with Final Fantasy VII's main protagonist, Strife. Just take a closer look. Blonde hair? Check. Sleeveless top? Check. Even their overall silhouette and posture have a similar feel. The only thing missing from Adelheid's design is Cloud's iconic oversized Buster Sword. But let's be real, who needs to lug around a giant, impractical blade when you can effortlessly cut down your opponents with a well-placed kick? Here we have yet another well-known example of KOF drawing inspiration from other media. It's no secret that Benimaru's design was heavily influenced by Jean-Pierre Polnareff, the iconic character from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. The similarities are undeniable. In his earlier iterations, Benimaru's black top was almost identical to Polnareff's. Both characters also share the same nationality, being French, while Benimaru is half French actually. And of course, we can't just ignore their most defining feature, their gravity-defying, lightning rod-like hairstyles. While Benimaru's fighting style doesn't incorporate JoJo-style stances, the visual resemblance alone is strong enough to earn him a high spot on this list. If you thought Adelheid's resemblance to Cloud was the only connection between KOF and Final Fantasy, think again. There's an even more striking similarity between the two series. Mature, KOF's villainous femme fatale seems to have a long-lost twin in Final Fantasy VII. More specifically, she bears an uncanny resemblance to Scarlet, the equally devious femme fatale of Final Fantasy VII. The first time I played the FF7 remake and saw Scarlet, my immediate reaction was, what the heck is Mature doing in this game? Just look at them. The same platinum blonde hair, the same sleek hairstyle, the same smug and confident attitude, and even their facial features are eerily similar. For me, this was one of the most surprising discoveries I've stumbled upon. I don't think it's intentional, or that either series directly inspired the other, but the resemblance is so uncanny that it's hard to ignore. I'll admit, the number one spot is pretty predictable. At this point, who doesn't know that K49, now reimagined as Cronin, was a direct reference to, or as some might argue, outright plagiarism of Akira's Tetsuo Shima? While Cronin's design in KOF 15 helped distinguish him from his original inspiration, his KOF 2001 incarnation, K49, was almost a carbon copy of Tetsuo. The similarities weren't just visual, their abilities functioned in nearly the exact same way, featuring grotesque, over-the-top flesh mutations that both characters struggled to control. Even K49's win pose was a blatant nod to Akira. I know this entry might seem a bit boring because of how obvious and well documented it is, but that's exactly what it claims the number one spot. I know there are plenty more resemblances between KOF characters and other figures from other media, which is why I want you to tell me your favorite in the comments section below. Special thanks to my patrons for their support. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you like this, and why not consider subscribing to the channel. Thanks for watching.